so let us take a look. Dr. Leadfoot. Okay, so good. And made a base. I like it. And then you don't focus all on your energy on one side, so I like that you just switch over after you made your base. Same with this. This is a very classic uh, handicap Joseki, right? The idea is
Right.
that you
Right.
can't just like play the simple stuff, right? You wouldn't do this in a even game, but yeah, it makes complete sense in handicap game, which I like. So everything's going your way right now. Like everything you're doing is really good. This move is where things could have been a little better. I still like this move a lot. It's almost connected, right? Black could still try and
Yep.
disconnect
Yep.
you, and
Yep.
you'd be able
Yep.
to connect up. But it also looks very threatening for this corner, right? And that's what you're supposed to look like. Even if it's not true, you're supposed to look threatening when you're playing handicap games, right? And so this
Right.
is that what I was saying. I didn't say it on recording, but I'll say it again. Is that I think you played really well as white, right? This is like kind of one of your first times I've seen you like kind of bully your opponents as white in handicap games, and it works, right? Because now he submitted and then you moved on. So it was really good. Everything that was going on was good so far. One thing though, the computer did mention that this would have been best. You can see you're just kind of building a bigger moyo and pushing
Yep.
black down.
Yep.
So
Yep.
compared to the two moves, computer liked this one a lot. I like this one in theory though. I think you have the right mindset of trying to play bullying moves, right? Because this looks really scary for black, right? That's why he
Yep.
bunkers down.
Yep.
He gets
Yep.
scared instead of counterattacking you, which is good for you. So that was great. Same with this, right? You see he's bunkering down again. So he's doing all the stuff that, you did months ago, right? Is like all the beginner traps of
Right. Right.
bunkering down and giving their opponents like lots of leeway. So this was really good. Everything was good. Even all this was good for you. Um, the first big mistake that I saw, I think it was like a -7 or 8, and I immediately, without even, because I always look at the game first and then check the computer
Yep.
after.
Yep. Yep.
Um, Immediately I thought this was bad shape, and it doesn't feel good.
No.
So,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
what's the vital point of the three stones? Right? We know that when we have three stones, this is the vital point. And you can see if he tried to like cut you, then you'd be fine, right? You'd still be out and connected and happy.
Yeah.
And then if he played like
Maybe
this,
I
same
didn't.
thing.
Yeah. Maybe I didn't read this right.
Yeah,
Um. Huh.
I wouldn't say it's the biggest deal in the world, but I do know
Yeah.
that that empty triangles and farmer hats, they're
Yeah.
bad shape.
Yeah. And I was worried. He could just mush me by playing it where one is. Squeeze me.
Yeah,
Uh.
and he could, like, if it went like this, it could be something like this. Not that this is good for black, but
Yeah.
what black did in the
Okay.
game was right, because what you're doing here is pushing from behind, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
by making good shape and jumping ahead, you're staying ahead of
Ah.
your opponent, right?
Ah. Ah.
And so if it goes like this, you're staying ahead of your opponent, right? You can see that you're just in
Right.
front of him. And then even if he like pushed and like did some cuts or something, um, you always can fall back and just take these three stones, and you're alive. Here's one eye, and then here's the other eye.
Right. 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 Right.
But yeah,
Right.
so just this was bad shape, and I just thought it was bad shape, and the computer
Okay.
agreed that like it would
Yeah.
have been much better to play this.
Yeah. I can
Um,
see it. Hmm.
so funny enough, this was a green move though. This was the blue move. I don't really see why, because the ladder doesn't work.
Yeah.
And in most
I would
cases, you wouldn't want to do something like this.
never do
So that's why I accept the green move more than the blue move, just because I can explain this better. And in more cases out of not, this is the vital point for 3 stones, right? So
Right.
I think this is much easier to find and use. Um, so so at this point, we once again got to like some shape questions, right? Like you could have hit the head of 3 stones here, and this is actually
Oh yeah.
accepted as the blue move.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
because no matter what black does, black's like it feels bad, right? Black's in trouble.
Huh.
Hanes you kill. If he makes an empty triangle, he's just in terrible shape, right? And he's still like dying. If he ever plays anywhere else, he's pretty much dying here. So hitting the head of 3 stones, right? We come back to shape. This would have been
Yep.
nice.
Oh,
Um, Still, this is okay. And then this attachment just didn't feel necessary right now. When you look at your stone, you have so many places to run and make a
yep.
base.
Yep.
So, and this group is safe, right? We always know that this group
Yeah.
is
Yes.
safe.
Yes.
And so we
Yep.
don't really need to try and connect to this group. Instead, we can just make our own base. And I think you can just see with any one of these moves
Yes.
that you'd be able to make a justifiable base here.
Okay.
So yeah, you got lots of room to run and make a base. You don't need to attach here now, right? We usually
Yeah.
attach where we're in trouble because what happens is black got stronger and attacked you, right? And now
Yep.
you have a big weakness.
Yep.
And then black attacked you and now you have weakness. And
Yep.
then yeah, you can see this is just getting more than what black shouldn't have gotten, right? Like if you
I
just played
see.
a move
Okay.
like this, it would
No.
be much better for you, right? Like you'd
Yeah.
be taking away
Yeah.
a lot and he's getting
Yeah.
stuffed
Yeah.
inside.
Huh.
So,
Okay.
but yeah, so we know that when we attach to our opponents, they get stronger. So always keep that in mind.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, this case, you hit the head of 2 stones, which is usually good. But I think that playing this would have been more ideal. The idea is that he attached to your stone, and you only have 2 liberties. So
Yeah.
when you played this, if black just played something like this or like this, you can see
Yeah.
black just got a lot more,
Right.
right? And so that was my first thought was to play here, right? We got touch, we have a weakness, so we should
Yeah.
fix.
Yeah.
The computer liked this one, but it was really confusing. It was like a whole bunch of weirdness going on with something like this, and then I don't know, some white plays down here or something, and I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on, so let's just look at the simple moves. This is the move I thought of, and it was a green
Yeah.
move, so I was
Yeah.
like, all right,
Yeah.
let's keep it simple. Um, but yeah, so this move, even though you're hitting the head of 2 stones, it gives black a way to fix himself and make a lot of territory.
Yeah.
Now black didn't. This was a mistake.
Yep.
And then you
And I
got to
knew it was
play.
a mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, so then you got to play the move that I wanted you to play, which was good.
Yeah.
And I think all this is pretty standard. Black should have played here, I think. But once you played here, this was really good for you, right? This is taking away a lot of territory. There's weakness.
Yeah.
Um, so life is good for you here. This was fine. You hit the head of three
Oh,
stones.
finally.
Yeah, you did get it. It was nice. Um, some
Oh yeah. Here.
things
Yeah.
some
Sorry.
things I think like this is fine. I think it's more than fine. Um, and that was mainly it, right? And so this was really good. You're just taking control of the game. This is where the big problem happened, and
Okay.
it's very similar to this as well, in my opinion. It feels
Okay.
like you're playing on the strong group, right? Like this is clearly a strong group. So there's no need to play on the strong group. When we have strong groups, we usually want to play far away and look for bigger moves, right? Does that
Yes.
make sense? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because
I guess I.
Mhm.
Yeah. I guess I thought that that would be like a shape move, but
It is. It
I
is.
see your.
Yeah, it is a shape point, and if you're only solely thinking of shape, it's definitely a good shape, right? Here's a tiger's mouth. If you played away, right, then black could break the tiger's mouth. So
Yeah.
this is definitely a good shape. But at the time of the game, and with the strength of your group, you don't need to play anywhere near here. So
Yeah.
really, you needed
Yeah.
something like this, right?
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
what I wrote here is, you laid all the, I put ground, but I meant ground.
I got it.
You laid all the groundwork for a large side. So you just need to take it, right? You just one move and you
Yep.
just made yourself quite a lot of points.
Yes.
Um, and I think the computer said to do that here now, and then definitely now. So the idea was, and you can see it, right? Like this just needs a base.
Definitely. Yeah.
This,
Definitely.
if you play here and then black plays this, you're starting to become in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Black didn't. Well, actually, he did. So never mind. So once again, this was another bad move. So you really needed to
Yeah.
play here.
Yeah.
Because when black plays this, you should actually be in a lot of trouble. He messes up, and then you get a good result, but
Yeah.
it shouldn't have happened, right? It shouldn't have been that good. Like this was already a mistake.
Yeah.
Black
Because it's
playing,
already. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, black playing this would have already caused so much trouble for you. Like maybe he wouldn't exchange this and come over here now or play this, but like black could do a lot of damage here. That's all.
I agree.
Instead, he messed up, and you got to cut him, and then he messed up again, and he pretty much tired you in the cross cut, which was good for you. And then,
What's a
excuse me.
Suji, Michael? Say it. Is it?
So this is the belly Tetsuji, but it doesn't work in
Yes.
this case. It doesn't work
Doesn't.
in this case. No. If he cuts through you, what can you do, right? If
Yeah.
you Hane, you just die, right?
Okay.
Um, Even if you don't, he doesn't Hane, right, and plays this. What do, right? Do
Right.
you play this because now this is almost a double Atari, and then he's alive, right?
Yeah.
If you play this, he can pretty much do the same things, right? He can still take this and pretty
Yeah.
gain enough
Huh.
moves to make life,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And so this move doesn't work. So this is the belly Tetsuji, but it's the wrong timing to use it. Uh, uh,
I guess what I thought was that even if he pushed, he didn't have enough room to live, but clearly I misread that.
yeah, the reason he does is because this is too weak.
Yeah.
So now it leads to all this weakness, right? And you can see
Yeah.
that it's good for black. So,
Yeah.
so this was wrong. Instead, and not only that, let's say this even worked. What
Okay.
you're supposed to do before you play a move like this is to take your forcing moves, right? And so this
Hmm.
is a forcing move first.
Yes.
So take your forcing moves first, and in this case, it would have helped you gain extra liberties, 2 liberties, I think, and it would have weakened black, right? Black's in a bad shape.
Yes.
And then if this worked, you could play it, but really you needed to play this, and this works.
Oh, I see. Wow.
But
Diagonal, not the belly. Jeez.
yeah, this one just leads to you getting cut, and it doesn't just work, right? But this one, even if he plays out here, you can see that you can just trap him.
Right.
If he plays like this, you could probably just stay strong because if he makes the eye, then you just make sure he can't make two. And if he
Yep.
goes for two, then you just make sure he can't get two, right? And so,
Yep.
not having a sacrifice here means that
Hmm. Hmm.
he can't do both, right? And so that's nice. So this is the move here. But yeah, ideally, if there's forcing moves, you usually want to take them first. And in this
Yeah.
case, it's such a good exchange for you. You just get an extra liberty, and he's put in bad shape. So
Yep.
really nice
Yeah.
exchange here. Um, but after this, as I said, he messed up, and he ended up he played this way instead of this way, and
Yeah.
you got a really good result here. This I think at this point, you've already changed the game where you
Yep.
have a decent amount going for you, right? And so I don't think you have to play overplays as much anymore. This felt like a
Uh-huh.
big overplay. Um, because you can see, like, if you played here, it would be similar, and then you can like take this corner.
Yeah.
But if you play this, if black plays here, no matter what way you block, black can connect and make profit.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And then yeah, same if white tries out this way, right? You can see black can connect and
Yep. Yep.
is making trouble. So this was a bit of an overplay. He didn't cower, so he answered. You know, he didn't counterattack you,
Right. Right.
which is something he didn't do in the game for most of the game, right? He didn't counterattack a lot of your overplays.
Yep.
Um, so this move is a mistake. We don't
Yes.
have to
Yeah.
go.
I knew. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I figured we didn't have to go too much into detail with this one, but you could just play this and be happy with the exchanges, and then
Yeah.
go for the biggest move. One of the biggest moves here is this. This is kind of like
Yeah.
the last biggest move on the board, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think you're at least semi familiar with how this works, right? You can
Yeah.
see that white can pretty much make life fairly easy in the corner.
Yeah.
You first threaten to come under, and then you poke at the weakness, and then you find a way to live here, pretty much. You expand as much as you can, and you know. So this would have been a nice invasion here, and we know about this from the kick Joseki, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so that's mainly it. After that, you didn't have the lead, and you kept the lead, and that was pretty much the game. Um, some things we can definitely take away from this. So the main things I got from this game was that some of your shape was off, right? Making good shape is important.
Yes.
And
Yes.
talking about bases, there was only one base problem, but it was the
Down there.
L4, right? Yeah, you could have gotten a much better result here. Black got more than he should have, right, on both
Yeah.
sides. And so
Yeah.
that was mainly it from this game. We can just quickly go over like the main points.
Yeah.
So this was the first like bad shape, right? We know the
Yeah.
vital point of 3.
Yeah.
Second, this is okay, but you could have taken your forcing moves first, right? Just like we
Yes.
discussed, and then
Yeah.
come back to play here. Because just getting in front of black here is such a big advantage. And if black played what you did in the game, it's even better for you, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that was another shape, issue. This one is about bases, generally in attaching too, right? Like we don't need to, if we don't need to attach, right? So usually we won't, because in this case it just allowed black to counterattack you, and it was good for black.
This was a, I mean, this was a judgment error on my part. I thought I I knew I had, or I thought I knew I had those moves, and I didn't realize that when I attached, I was going to take those C and D moves away from myself.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, I expected him to do this, to do that, what he did.
Mhm.
And then I guess I didn't realize that when he hanes, I'm going to lose the sides. Huh. Well,
Yeah,
that's
even if you
interesting.
played what I wanted you to play, yeah, he
Yeah,
still
yeah,
just takes a
yeah,
a pretty decent
yeah,
size.
yeah,
You could probably play something like this, or you could take the head now, right? So you
yeah,
could have gotten a little something if you played down first. But
yeah.
yeah, so you saw
Hmm.
this, but then you didn't realize this was that damaging on this stone, right? I
Right,
think even in
right,
the game you didn't, because you went for the shape instead of fixing yourself.
right, right.
Um, but that it all was okay. Black didn't take everything, which he could have, right? But he played here, and then it was fun.
Yeah.
Um, Last but not least, this is probably the biggest judgment error here,
Yes,
and
yes,
that
yes.
is, as you missed like 2 shape points, you didn't want to miss a third one, so you played this. But at this time, the shape doesn't matter. We use shape to usually a lot of times we use shape to save ourselves, right? Or to put black in bad positions. But in this case, you're already saved. And in this case, black's already saved, so we can't really put black in a bad position here. So
Yeah,
it's much better to just take your big move, right? And especially since
yeah,
this group needs a base, which
yeah,
you almost found that out, right? You almost found that.
yeah.
So that was mainly it for this game. So we can move on to the next one. Any questions on this one?
No, I think I understand.
Yeah, I think you did a great job. We can definitely compliment the good things you did, which I think you played the right amount of like aggressiveness and overplayingness. Like especially this move. Like this is something you've probably got played against a lot, right?
Yeah,
Like people play
totally,
this,
totally.
and so I think you can see why now it's good, and it's because it just puts pressure on two corners, right? And if they cower, then you get the center, which you did, right? You got the center. They cowered into the corners, and you got a good result. Um, Sorry about the loud banging.
No, no worries.
I can't help it, unfortunately. It's every day. That when are they? I don't know when they're gonna finish that
But it's
construction.
so early to be banging.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess. I mean, it's like that in the city too. I mean, I've always lived in the city, and they always start work like 7 o'clock, 6, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. That's it. That's the rule. You can't make a noise before 7.
Well, if it's 8 o'clock here, so it's okay.
Oh, oh, right.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
oh, I forgot. I forgot you're an yes. Okay.
yeah. All right, so let's move on to the next game.
Oh, this
Um,
was awful.
this,
Okay.
yeah. So I was looking at the game, and I always keep an eye on local and large, right? And I didn't
Yep.
realize by like move 30, I think you already were behind 50 points, and you tried catching up a little, but it was too late, right?
Yeah.
So it was really just the beginning, which is kind of the most important part that you messed up on, and then
Yeah.
it led to the game being like really a big loss.
Yes.
So we'll talk
Yes.
about it.
Okay.
So everything is fine. These moves are fine. The computer says this is out of date, right? It wants you to play like the two space or the
Yeah.
large, but it's fine. I still think it's fine. Same with this. This is out of date style, but I think it's fine. If you're learning from the Kisiedo books, then or Yulin Yang's fundamentals, right? Then this makes complete sense.
Yep.
Um, Ideally, now modern Go would tell you just to like invade in here now, right? Right, you can just invade in here now, so that
Yeah.
because black has two walls, one wall, two walls, so this area is the most important.
Yep.
So modernly now they want you to play here or play this, which this one I think is a little harder to understand, but I also think it makes sense, right? If black plays here,
Yeah.
then you can like do something like this or something.
Right.
But either way, so this is Japanese, older style, which is you built the wall and then you wanted to make some territory with it. Still fine, still fine. Everything's fine. I don't have complaints. If you want to play this way, makes sense. That's what you're learning, right, from the Kisiedo books.
Sure.
So
Sure.
I still agree with it. Um, this was actually perfect. It was the blue move, which I found
Oh,
interesting.
oh,
Um, I just thought it was good. You can make a two space base on both sides, even a three space base over here if you wanted to. Um, and this was correct, completely correct. I was wondering if you learned to fight here from the attack and defense book. Like I don't know if you would have played this before, but this is right
so
now.
yeah, I mean, so now every time I hear the word shoulder hit,
Mm,
I go shoulder hit, and
mm.
then I go, I'd like to go up, that's correct. And if I have to move to the side, I have to think about it, but this seemed right.
Yeah, it was definitely right. They say it would have been good for you to play this move if you had a stone on one of these triangles. because
Mm,
then when you
yes, yes.
push, you would get pushed up onto the next line, right?
Yep,
So
yep.
that would be ideal. But in this case, since you can't do that, then it's much better to push up and fight. So this was good. The problem then came with the next move. If you remember our standard moves, there's actually a few in mind that come to mind, but you jumped, and this was wrong. Um, so let's talk about it for a second. The
Okay.
first thing is we want to look for hitting the head of two stones, right?
Yep.
In this case, though, black is here, and so you have kind of a big weakness when he cuts.
Right. So I didn't want to do that.
Right. So because you're weak here, then you need to strengthen yourself. You need to get stronger with this move.
Okay.
When you play this, it's just
Yes.
like this in almost a sense because now he can play inside, and you have two cutting points, right?
Yep.
And so once again, I think black has the advantage in this fight against you. And so the idea is that if you can't hane because you're weak, then you shouldn't jump because you're weak. If that makes any sense.
Yes. Yes.
So this is
Huh.
definitely the right move here. And if
I
he
see.
plays this now you at least have three stones, so this feels much more
Yep.
comfortable.
Yep.
And if this fight happened, we can try and counterattack these, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
and that's mainly it, right? We get the first move
I
against
see.
these.
Uh, uh, uh,
So, but even though you played the wrong move that would have got you punished against the stronger player, for some reason, Black played this move.
yes. And then I have the perfect move.
Yeah, now your move is perfect, but we can't rely on our opponents to play
No, no,
mistakes,
I'm
right?
kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
but no, you do
I
have it
yes.
is the perfect move now because now you hit the head of these two stones.
Yeah.
So
This is
his
it. I know.
yeah, his fundamentals, he needed to break this tiger's mouth or something. It's like I was pretty shocked to see this move. So you did a great job here. I thought this was okay, but I see the computer really liked this because it's you can see it's hitting the head of these two stones, and it has all this weakness everywhere, right?
Yep. Yep.
And when you push, it does allow the disconnect of
Yes.
these,
Yes.
and so
Yes.
that's
Yes.
why this is considered a bad move. But I
Yep.
thought it was okay. I didn't have too much of a problem with it. Um, the problem came. Well, actually, it was his problem that came. He played here, which was awful. He needed to play this.
Uh-huh.
So once again, he's made another bad move. He made a really bad move here and a really bad move here.
Yep.
And so you got a thank you move. You got to fix yourself, and he got
Yep.
hurt.
Yep.
And then you got the blue move, which was perfect. And then you did something that looks right, but it is wrong, which is this move here. Why do you think that this is wrong? What happens after black fixes?
So he has to connect.
Yeah,
Okay. And then I have to fix.
exactly. And that's the problem. You give away Sente. Black is weak here, mind you, but black has some options to start messing you up, right?
Yeah.
And
So it's
so,
all about the center. Huh.
yes. Inseong would teach me that if you Atari something, but then you have to come back to fix, then most likely that Atari is a bad idea because you just give away Sente. So in this case, A would have been much better. This move here, it still threatens
Yes.
what you plan to do, especially if he
Yep.
plays something like this, right? Then you're really in a good position,
Yeah.
right? Really good position. So he should fix here, and then you can fix your problem. And you can
Yeah.
see white is perfect, right? Even if black lives, which
Yeah.
would it's still not technically alive.
Yep.
Um, what do you call it? Yeah, white fixed all its problems, right? You've already gained everything you needed for this game. You have the
Yep.
influence, you
Uh,
have the territory, Like it's
Oh,
perfect.
Michael, so sad.
Some this lesson, try and take it to heart. It's going to
I
take
will.
a lot of practice, but the idea is that if you Atari something and then you have to come back to fix it, most likely that's not the way you should play. So there's exceptions to the rule, but most of the time that's true because then you give your opponent sente.
Yep.
Like that giving your opponent sente is always
Oh,
true in that
oh,
aspect. So really keep that in mind.
yep.
So Black played a terrible move, right? Like he had these weaknesses
Yeah,
and he played
yeah,
here. This was a negative
yeah.
11. So he's already made one big mistake, two big mistakes, three big mistakes. You're actually in a really good position here. But what you didn't remember to do, which was to protect your weaknesses, for some reason
Yeah.
you had three cutting points, and you never
Yes,
protected
yes,
them, and then you lost the game
yes.
because of it.
Yeah,
So you need to fix your cutting points. It's so important. You could have played. I think this was the blue move. This is the green move. Both of them work perfectly fine. But you needed to fix. If you fixed, even if he ataris you and jumps out, you're fine, right? This group isn't even alive yet.
yes.
And so like, yeah, I mean that's mainly it. Like you would have been fine. But you didn't fix these, and this is what made you lose the game. So
Yeah.
you
So you know what
pushed.
I think, yeah, what partially happened was, so this was a placement game,
Hmm.
and I was lulled into thinking that they weren't very strong because I had really pushed on them.
Yeah, you
But
hammered
then,
him.
yeah, but then, and he hammered back, they hammered back, and I was screwed. And that really is that's what happened mentally.
Yeah,
Although it was a
yeah.
terrible move. I think that's what was going on.
That does happen all the time, not only to me, but lots of Dom players when they're facing against me, right? There's actually plenty of examples where I've beaten like 3 and 4 Dons, because they would usually get an early lead like this against me, and then they
Yep,
would get relaxed, and then I would
yep,
come back and like kill something, right? And
yep,
that's happened with two of the Masco teachers, both Trevor and John. 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 I don't know. I'm remembering his username more than his actual name.
yeah,
John
yeah,
Capron. There we go. But
yep,
either way, yeah. So that's probably what happened because at this point you got way too many good moves, right? Like
yep,
everything is just going good for white, and so you got too relaxed. And
yep,
then once you played here, like it's over. Black messed
yep,
up here, but if he just play, it's so simple to see, right? One, two,
yes,
three.
yep,
That's
yep,
it.
yep,
And then once
yep,
Black does this, you're in huge trouble, and the whole
yeah,
game
it's over.
changes.
Yep, yep,
But you saw that after, so you should have played here now, right? But you saw that after, but you fixed wrong. So if you fixed here, it would have worked. But you
yeah,
fixed here because you wanted to put more pressure on this, I assume. And
yeah.
then,
I tried to, well, how sad. I thought about which way to fix,
mhm.
and why did I choose that instead of the solid? Yeah, I wish I could tell you. So is there a way to choose what to do here? If you
Yeah,
back
you
up?
could have played here or here. Either one of these would have worked, but this one doesn't because it still leaves an Atari here, which
Okay.
he picked up on. Right, he
Yeah,
attacked
yeah,
here,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then he Atari'd here, and
Well,
then
and
he
then he
got to
has me.
take. Right,
Yeah,
yeah,
has me.
and so now, what was a good position for you is starting to die. Right.
Yep.
And so you could have still lived in this corner if you played on this side.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Ugh, I saw that in the AI.
Yeah, you could have lived with this side, in the corner. And you can't kill these now because of this here.
Yep, yep,
So that just has to, be accepted. But you could
yep,
still live here. So you
yep,
needed to attack from your weaker side to
yep,
gain strength, right? But in this case, you didn't, and then you ended up dying, and then that was pretty much game over. At this point,
Yeah.
there was like no way to come back. The computer had him up by like 50 or 40 points, and then
Oh,
he kept that lead for the rest of the game.
yep,
And you
yep,
can kind of see why, right? Because one of your biggest territory is now all gone,
yep.
and Black still has, all of this, right? So he still has plenty where he can win,
Right,
right?
right, right, right,
And
right.
so that was the problem. So I mean, we can talk about some moves, which we will. Let's go through them.
Okay.
But it was just a really hard game at that point, and it's because of the
Yeah.
early mistakes. So the main lesson of this game is to remember to cover your cutting points.
Yes.
This side, is safe, and so you need to fix the side that isn't safe, right? And that was mainly it when it comes to the most important stuff of this game. But we'll keep going for a little longer. So attacking this from here didn't feel right, and the reason being is because this group is very weak right now. So if Black
Yes.
like plays kind of anything over here, right, you're starting to become weaker.
Yep.
And so we don't want to attack this way. Instead, this would have been my first choice, and this being like my second.
Hmm.
So the reason this one first is because if he does play down here, you still have plenty of room to run, right? So this is strong, and you're just pushing him this way. And as he runs this way, you're going to be able to make points on the bottom, right?
Yep.
And so that's
Yep.
really nice for white, right? You're not trying to kill him; you're just
Yep.
trying to push
Yep.
him around
Yep.
so that you
Yep.
can make territory. But instead, this one, like I said, it opens up weaknesses for you.
Yeah.
The computer liked this move, and this move. It didn't like this move for black.
Yeah.
And this makes sense to me because, if you come back to fix your problem, then black gets out, right? And so that's nice for
Yeah.
black.
Yeah.
Um, and then if you were to like come this way, well, now you can see black can just kind of get out another way, right? And now it's even
Yeah.
hurting your group down here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, um, so yeah, this move was wrong, and this move was wrong, and this move was really wrong, actually. Um, so, when you play here, you just lost the liberty, and you helped
Yes.
black
Yes.
fix, right? And so now,
Yeah.
like black got all the benefit. It's a thank you move, a super thank you move. So instead, just taking your large territory on the bottom would have been nice, right? If he plays another move or something, then you just play here, and you've just made yourself a good 20 points. And
Yeah.
black didn't make anything, right? This is making
Yeah.
zero, maybe two.
Yeah.
So you just needed to relax and attack for profit.
Yeah.
But this is attacking to like kill, and it's not going to work. That's what I
Yeah.
think, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, so this was starting to feel good, right? This group is weak, and you're getting a decent attack on it. Definitely would have strengthened myself here if you were playing to attack this more. The other
Yeah.
idea is that the stronger this gets, the weaker this becomes.
Oh, yeah.
We could see just in a few moves, right, that white
Oh.
doesn't even have one eye yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so this is really dangerous. And so the computer actually suggested this move um, because now whatever black does, you're going to get stronger for it, right?
Yeah.
If black plays here, you're definitely going to get stronger here, right? And then you can come back and start attacking this again. Or I
Yes.
wouldn't bunker down to make two eyes and gote if I was you, but it's a possibility.
Hot. Yeah.
If he attacks on top, it's kind of really the same thing. You could either play here or here, and you just be a lot stronger. Just ideally, right now, you do have some big weaknesses, right?
Right. I see. I
And
see.
so this was the wrong timing for this move.
Yeah.
Um, and so that was that. So wrong timing. Yep. And then same with this. This would have been better. This is an armpit hit, and
Well,
it just didn't feel that good. This was correct. I think I would have got this wrong. Maybe. Like I might play something like this.
oh, that might be better.
It might, but the computer liked your move the best. I don't know what could be wrong with this one. Maybe if he hits on top, you do look like
That's what I was worried about.
yeah, you do look like you're getting stuffed in. But still, you would definitely have two eyes, and you could move on.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, you didn't. Yeah, you'd get stuffed in. So that's probably my problem with this move. So your move was right. Um, at this time, the computer wanted you to counterattack these two stones,
Huh?
but
Uh-huh.
I was having a lot of trouble finding how to. Right, like I couldn't find a way to actually counterattack these stones. I suppose if it went like this, you could play here, and that would be really good, actually. So
Oh, I see.
that's the
Yeah.
move I was missing.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So this would have been a really nice counterattack instead of playing here,
Yeah.
but that's fine. This was great, right? You've done such a good job here with this move. And then finally, this was kind of like the last thing I was looking at. So I was looking at this is bad, right? Because you could have an invasion in here,
Uh-huh.
right? You have this move with this move,
Yeah.
so this is great. But this move looks like a waste because it just fixes whack.
Yeah.
The only thing I could say is that you're trying to attack this, which might be a good idea actually. So maybe I'd go with this one first, and you can just get that one stone farther. Right? In
Mm.
your version, you go this far, but in this
Yeah.
version, you can
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
this far.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if he jumps up, then you can just attack the thing as a whole, right? You can do what you want, really. You could jump down here. You could play this. You could kick. You could peep, and then jump, right? So I don't know. I guess I see where you're coming from with this. It just felt like a bad move, but I see what your plan is now to attack this, which is a good plan. It's a very good plan. Would have
And
played,
yet,
yeah, I would have played here for the Sente, and then
that,
played here.
uh,
By playing
then
this,
I'm,
yeah,
yeah, might have died.
playing this one just allows him to get this, and this is
Yeah.
good enough for
Yeah.
him,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? In my opinion, this is good
Oh,
enough.
oh, so close, yet
Uh,
so far.
yeah, I would have played this, and if he answers like this, you get this nice Atari here, which is just really good, right? You get to play quite a lot of things because of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Huh.
either way, it would have been a nice result for white. But you played here, and then looks. Why couldn't you just play this now? Right? He can never truly connect to his group.
Yeah.
So you could have played this double peep. Black messed up. Black needed to play here, but Black played
Mhm.
this.
Hmm.
Okay, so you did play this, but then you didn't follow through.
Because why? What did he do next? Wait. So,
So you played this move, which is good, and now you
and
could
then
have
what
played
did I
this.
do? Well, what did I
Let's.
do?
You played over here, and then Black played this, and then Black fixed. Okay, so
I see. Yeah.
now the game's pretty much over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, even with these faults, Black had a 50-point lead, like the or 40-point lead, the majority of the game, all the way to the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Looking at that graph is just heartbreaking.
yeah, I understand completely, but don't feel bad. It happens. Like I mess up a Joseki all the time, and then you know the rest of the game is just playing catch up, and that's pretty much what this game is, right? You made a big
Yeah.
mistake in the opening, and then the rest
Yeah.
of the game was catch up. Like at this point, it's difficult for any player to reverse a game like this.
Right.
So I wouldn't feel too heartbroken. Um, but what we can do is take what we learned from this, and some of the most important things we learned right from the beginning is like this here, right? If you're too weak to Hane, then you're too weak to jump. So keep that in mind.
Yes.
The other thing is definite. Oh, this is a really important one you can take
Yeah.
away
Yeah.
for any
Yes.
game,
Yes.
like any
Yes.
situation. Um, understanding that when you Atari, if you have to fix after, that means you lose Sente, and so most cases it's not worth doing the Atari in the first place.
I have written this down, Michael.
That's an important lesson I learned at 2Q that, even 2Qs don't understand, right? Even one Don, and I think two Dons mess up with this a lot, is that, is this concept. Like, yes, it looks like Black's in really dire straits, but
Yeah.
you also gave Black Sente, and so it gives him a chance to start
Yeah.
fixing those mistakes. So,
Yeah.
so very important. Last but not least is when you have 2 or 3 cutting points, you definitely want to fix them.
Yeah.
I feel like the banging's even getting louder.
I can't really hear it very. It's not very clear
Okay.
with the audio that we have. I hear you talking fine, and I hear like a clicking in the background almost.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, because it's really loud to me. So it's like, even cutting into my patience or my focus, right? But I'm glad that it's not too bad for you. That's good, because then at least it's not gonna be terrible for the video.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's mainly it, Marty. Like I said, there was plenty of little things here and there, right? Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
attacking direction here was
Yeah.
wrong because we have a weak group.
Yeah.
Playing in here is definitely a thank you move. You just lose liberties and help him. And
Yeah.
this is like small stuff. I mean, it would have made a big difference, but it's like small things in the aspects of like this. This is a big thing, right? This is a
Right.
huge thing.
Right. Right.
And this is a very interesting thing here.